This is how you know I'm back at my computer. There we go! Yay! It's working fine. Okay, let's make sure it's actually going. It's actually going. Yes, it is. Huzzah! Cool. Now I can see everybody's stuff. Hi, guys! I'll wait for people to filter in. Happy Tuesday. Something drink. It's not tea today, but I need the fizzy drink boost. Hello, Anna. Yes, everything is going. I appreciate everybody after yesterday who sent their kind words. You guys are awesome. This is why I love this group. And I'm glad it's awesome. And everybody's super nice. I apologize for being a little quiet. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, Anna? We have both the Annas in here. Anna and Anna. Let me know that you can hear me, because I'm having to speak a little quiet because child's finally asleep. One day I'll have my own office, guys. One day. Hello, Katrina. Okay. Couple people filtering in. We'll give it another minute or so. Make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? And I hope everybody also has their notebooks and pens today, because you're going to need them today. We're going over creating a tarot journal and why it is so freaking important and why you need it and why it's amazing. Awesome. Exactly. Hello, Penda. Good afternoon. I don't know how long I can stay. Oh, totally fine. Today I'm actually able to record it. So it'll go up on YouTube and it'll be sent to the list, and it won't just be a link to the Facebook video. The one for yesterday, I'm going to be ghetto and and figure out how to get the code so I can upload it to YouTube as well, because I know a couple lovely ladies were having issues watching it just from Facebook. So I will go ahead and get that done today as well after all of my meetings. Awesome. Yes, kid is asleep. Yeah, there's nothing like trying to do a meditation, a guided meditation live, and you hear rah in the background. The most professional, the best thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Other people will come in as they can. So, prop up. Awesome. So, today we're going over creating a tarot journal, and this was really key to reading intuitively, because, like I mentioned when I first brought it up last month, if you can't remember what you drew that morning after doing a million things throughout the day, no matter who you are, it makes it really, really difficult to tap into your intuition and to realize what your patterns are. So, when I first started reading, consciously reading tarot, I was reading tarot for years before that, but consciously picking the cards apart and realizing this is tarot, I was in school for theater. I am a theater major. I got my degree in theater, and I'm a director, a stage manager, I'm a carpenter, seamstress. I'm everything theatrical that you can think of. Dancer, singer, everywhere. I'm operatically trained. I'm all over the place. So, when I was in school for theater, I found tarot the second half of my junior year. And I was in the middle of taking gen eds and theater classes. I was in the rehearsal for a version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was doing light booth for it. I wasn't in the show. I was helping build the costumes for it, though. I was also in a show called Crossing the Line about drunk driving. I was in another show. It was the assassination of the Marquis de Sade. No, the assassination of Jean-Paul Marat as written by the Marquis de Sade and performed by Asylum. I was in an asylum. And it was like if you were to go to an asylum in the time of the French Revolution and have them put on a play, that's basically what we did. So I was all over the place. I did a million things. And I had really shied away from anything spiritual and magical because I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. For those who don't know what that is, it's like as close to culty as you can get, but Christianity, it's weird. And it's ridiculously strict. So no Scooby-Doo, no birthdays. It's still hard for me to figure out my family's birthdays because we just don't celebrate birthdays, no Halloween. I got yelled at for wearing black and having a pentacle, things like that. A little bit worse for the pentacle, but yeah. So it made a bunch of blocks for myself because when you're raised as being something and you're told a bunch of mundane things are evil, including tarot, like I had even specifically heard the word, but I knew what they looked like and I knew they were bad. It made it so hard to intuitively connect because I had this huge block in the way. So my roommate Izzy, who is the complete opposite of that, if she could marry a tree, she would. She threw the Enchanted World deck at me and said I could have it because she didn't want it anymore. And the deck itself didn't like that very much. I know a couple ladies yesterday were having a hard time with difficult decks. That's a difficult deck for me. It came with a meditation CD and a tiny, like, thin book and a tiny little deck of cards that it didn't resonate with me at all, but I loved the images and I loved the names, and it was so fascinating to me. So I really didn't have a clue on how to learn it when I had no time. You know? So, hi Catherine. Awesome. Hello Elsa. So when it came to learning tarot, I really needed something to fit my schedule. And I needed something that would be able to blend with me. And I wanted to learn a few things about myself, especially because spirituality was a new thing for me, and trying to figure out what I wanted. I was newly engaged to my now husband, and I wanted to see where our relationship would go. I was dealing with a very toxic family because of their beliefs and just who they are as people, so I wanted to figure out how I could get away from that or heal that. I was trying to plan my future with theater and had no clue what to do, if it was even the right path for me. So I was doing a bunch of things, and I realized the best way to reading intuitively, sitting down and looking at the card and writing down what I thought it meant, was actually writing it down in a designated journal. And so I went to Walmart, I picked up a $5 notebook. It was brown, had a wood cover with gold polka dots on it, and I made some spreads to track my daily draws, and that way I could see what my stalker cards were. That way I could see, I held myself accountable for writing it down and actually doing the draw. And this year, I still have to officially make it, but for my journal every year, my goal this year is to go ahead and actually put that section in again so I can actually track my stuff, because I need to hold myself accountable. Because as a tarot reader, whether you're doing this professionally or trying to teach it or whatever you want to do, if it's just for fun, you need to be able to track your progress, because it's so fun to look back on that old notebook that's currently packed away to look back and see how I've grown and see how my meanings of the cards have changed. And since then I've gotten more decks and my knowledge has expanded, and it's made it so interesting to go back. But if you don't have that written text, then you have an issue, So, and even after just using it for a year or so, I was able to read intuitively with all of my decks, right out the box. I was able to expand my practice to the point of wanting to do it for other people professionally, not just doing anonymous questions on on Tumblr, where I got my start. And I had this really, really strong desire to teach other people how to read, and that's where I am now. I'm trying to teach you guys how to read. So, and even it was funny because my husband was actually my very first student, and he encouraged me, and he's taking his tiny baby steps, but he's getting there, and he's gotten so much stronger with his intuition. Even not using the cards, he was able to intuitively read his runes, and it was fantastic, and it clicked with him. So, like I said, creating a journal gives yourself some kind of commitment. It forces you, because it's like a subject in school that you don't give two shits about. You're not going to write any notes about it. You're going to sit in the back and you're going to fiddle with your phone, or you're going to throw notes at people and all this kind of stuff. If you care about it, you'll write it down so you can remember it for later. And even if you never look at the notes again, by writing it down, it kind of writes it into your brain a little more, because you're thinking about the words and you're processing it. So that's what you kind of do when you're with tarot. Okay, you have that visual aid and you have that written word, so you have that analog. Okay, and the biggest thing is it really helps you remember, because your intuition relies on your memories. It relies on things that have happened to you in the past, both your experiences and things that you've learned. And especially after you've been through certain events, like having a child, you become so grateful for pen and paper, because you're like, oh yeah, I wrote it down, yay, my brain it didn't go out my ears. So today, in today's workbook, let me get you the link for it, and I'm going to post it in the thing, so you guys can take a look at it. I want you guys to ask yourself these questions. And if you have your pen and paper ready, we're going to set up a basic tarot journal. Okay? Everybody still with me? Come on. Post it. There it is. It's there, but it's not up on the screen. It's getting there. But is everybody with me? Everybody understand? Give me thumbs up or hearts or... No, I don't understand. Tell me. Awesome. Cool. Emojis. Yay. So, everybody, do you have your notebooks? I got my notebook for this year. This is my daily. This is my personal planner. We're going to set up a simple tarot journal for everybody. Even if you have a sheet of paper and you get a notebook later and then you write it down later and keep a track that way, I want you to set it up, like, right now. We're going to do it together. And it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be pretty. So all you need is a writing utensil, okay? And even if you have a different planner, or you use Google Calendar, like my soul is probably sold to the Google Calendar gods because of how often I used it in school. And now they're mad at me because I'm using nothing but pen and paper. But it doesn't matter what you have, you need to have some place to write things down. Okay? Everybody? Cool. So, what we're going to do, go past all the pages. Key things that you want, at least the name of the card, well, a title for the page, the name of the card, your meaning of it, anything that stands out to you, and the date. Okay, so you can look back. So we're going to do that super quick. Okay, so I have all my pens here. Let's get the right size pen. So we do 2000. 18, and part of me is like, I'm not planning it ahead. Nope. Improv it. Do it right now. Daily draws. Okay? Super simple. Ooh. 2018 daily draws at the top of the page. Okay. Fix the lighting. There you go. Alright, so it's simple. I know what the hell page it is. Okay? So, and if you want to write this on the cover of a notebook, fine. We're going to go over other things that you might want to include as well. That way you can come up with some ideas. Because someone had mentioned this the other day in a different group. They were talking about what do you associate to help you remember the cards. And one fun exercise in this group, someone had brought up if you made a deck off of WWE wrestlers to help with the personas, because if you think about it, they're so outlandish and it's such a mixture of acting and tarot that it makes it so much easier for some people to understand. Sure. Lunch. So, with this, we're not only going to create a section for you to do that, but also you can expand upon this to do whatever colors you'll associate things with, herbs, things like that. And I'll show you some other ones that I have in a different notebook that we can share. So you guys can see them. And I want you to share pictures of your journal in the group, so we hold ourselves accountable. And we'll make it fun. So, this one, like I said, you want to do the card name, the meaning, and if you have room, what stands out to you. I'm going to put them in the same column. Stands out and date. Okay, super simple. You can kind of see it. Yeah. So, card name, meaning, stands out, date. Super easy. Okay. And every day, go ahead and draw a card. So, today, fuck it, we'll do everything live. Why not? You guys get to see the secret side of myself. Saw me cry yesterday, now you get to see my card call me out. Shuffle, shuffle. Seven of Swords today. Okay, the Seven of Swords is my card today. So, I would go ahead and figure out, okay, Seven of Swords is my card. Seven of Swords. Why does this stand out to me? This deck in particular reminds me of, it says, it doesn't paint the Seven of Swords in such a negative light. It does it more in creatively thinking. Because, and that's how I always take it, because for this version, he's clearly out in the open, he's smiling, he's not hiding anything. His bag is literally open with the swords, and he's leaving them behind him. He's walking forward. He's not going back to go pick them up, so he's not taking them. He's leaving a breadcrumb trail for him to remember things. So, it's thinking outside the box. Whenever I see the Seven of Swords, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, but that's just because it's from this deck. So, today I'm thinking a little more outside the box. I will agree with that, because today I'm doing some free sessions for some testimonials for chakra readings. So I'm thinking a little bit outside the box. So, it's a thinking outside the box day. And I was experimenting with some new technology, trying to get the web stream going. So, outside the box. And today's date, 1-2-18. Okay. And I'm done, literally. And it makes it so much easier. And even if you don't specifically read tarot, a journal is key for all different types of readings that you do. And all different types of modalities. Like, when I was learning palmistry for the first time, all the books that I came across, all the teachers that I came across, they would talk about how you need to write it down, because your hands change every day. So you need to look back and see what lines appeared when they appeared, what happened in your life at that point, and when did they disappear. What did you do to change it, and what made the line reroute? So it's not just in tarot, it's in any modality that you want to learn to read intuitively. You need to have some place to write it down. And with a brain like mine, where I forget things and I loop, it makes it so much easier for me if you write it down. Okay. Alright, everybody still with me? Huh? I'm going to show you what I have in my original, not original tarot journal, but my second one, which is my Book of Shadows. So, my Book of Shadows, I have broken into a couple sections. Let's change the lighting. Broken into a couple sections, okay? So, for each Yule, I found it important to have a tarot spread. I wanted a tarot spread for each and every single one. And even though I don't classify myself as just pagan, I do find that the celebrations for each of the different sections is important to me, from a personal standpoint and from every other standpoint. Anna says, I'm thinking that for us who have several decks, or... hang on. It cut off what you said. Let's see. There we go. It could be interesting to make a little note of what deck it was, since keywords and interpretations can change depending on that. Very true, especially if you're learning from right from the book. So if you do have that, you could easily... One thing that I would do, I don't have that many decks, so I would do a symbol for each deck. And I'd color code it, because I like color coding and I'm a nerd. So I would go ahead and like put a little red dot next to Witch's Tarot, or green next to Dreams of Gaia, and I'd put it in the corner, like next to the card name. But it also gives a clue for me, because I only use 2 tarot decks. I hardly use my Enchanted World. So if it comes up as fire for me, then I know, okay, it was Gaia. But if it comes up as wands for me, okay, it was Witch's Tarot. But that's a very valid point. If you have more than one deck, you could easily color code it or put a little column where you say what deck is it from. Awesome question. Well, awesome point that you made. So, a couple other things I found important just to inspire you guys. Not only just regular spreads, because I have, monthly spreads. I have a spread for making stories that I've actually made some of my published plays from, is using that, and I need to use that again. I also included numerology. I included numerology because how I started getting into numerology is I would associate each number with each major, and it would make it so much easier for me if I could think of an archetype over a specific number set, you know? Another thing, as I go through here, I have my giant section for keywords. Ha 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 ha. So I have my cups, and I have my wands, and I have each page exactly like that because I felt the need to blow it up and have more space. Because this is when I first started learning, and I was paying attention to all the keywords everywhere, and I didn't want to keep Googling. So there's a lot of spreads in here I don't even use anymore because of that, but hey, it works. Another thing that helps is the Fool's Intuitive Journey series that we just got done doing last month. End of November. I include herbs and seasons and color schemes and everything in there. Those can really help you, especially if you're an herbalist, so you think of a season and what can grow during that time. If you're an artist and color schemes help you and color palettes help you, that's another thing that you can include. This is an opportunity for you to explore. And if we take a look at some of you in a couple other groups that I know may have already seen what I have in this specific journal, but this year I added the retrogrades. I listed out every single retrograde so I could have it. And I also have a tracker for my year for energy and how each of the retrogrades and the moon cycles affect me. So each card is associated with a different planet and a different deity in that turn, because the planets are just the Roman gods' names. So that's another way it helps me. If I think of, let me think, the moon is literally associated with the moon, I'm going to think of Demeter. Okay? Or because it's night, I'll think of Hecate, because literally my Witch's Tarot associates it with the goddess Hecate. Or with Nox. I love Nox. Nox is my favorite. Or Chang'e. She's another favorite of mine, the Chinese goddess of the moon. I'll think of those type of aspects and how they fit into the card, and what kind of person would draw this card. She would be an archetype of one of those goddesses, or one of those gods, you know? Let's see. There were more comments, but it cuts it off. Let's see. Anna says, great, I will make a note to remember that. I use like 5-6 decks depending on the mood. Yeah, and it really does depend on your mood, and that's totally okay. I know some people who do one journal per deck in order to keep it more fluid for themselves, you know? It really just depends on who you are. I went, and this notebook, my old notebook from last year, is probably the most expensive notebook that I own because it was $20. It's a moleskin. But actually, my new ones this year that are a little bit bigger and it's dotted, because I care about that kind of thing, because again, I'm a nerd. I got it for $5.99 at Michael's, because they're having a sale on everything that has to do with journals and planners. And it's the Artist Loft notebook. So I have this, and it's perfect. I would easily do a deck for journal for each of my decks if I could. Totally would. Other Anna Herring, says, I like the idea of writing down, but the things that stand out on one occasion reading may be different from the things that stand out on the other. I guess it's because of the pairing and combos. Should we write down the whole reading? Ooh, good question. I personally like to write down the entire reading. This is specifically for daily draws. If I were to, let's see, is my other notebook around here? I have a million, guys, because I'll happily admit I'm a nerd. Let me see. In my other notebook, my personal planner from last year, all the things that I would write. Oh, crystals, yes. As for sharing things, I have all my crystals that I personally own. You could easily do crystals with your stuff. That's when, if I can find one, I would sit down, say I'm doing this spread from in my journal. Haha. Yes. I did the Law of Attraction spread on the 25th on Christmas. So I sat down, I said, I am doing the Law of Attraction spread. Okay, I can easily go into my giant book of shadows and I can go find it. I have it in there. And I talked about what each card said. Okay, and what each one came up for me. And I would list it out. This is position 1, this is what I think it is, and then afterwards I would journal for a good bit. But that's just me. I want to sit there and I want to work it out. So you could easily do that. I wouldn't put it on a short daily page like that. I would make a new page. Like, the writing is super small on here. But I literally made a new page and I wrote. And I wrote. Okay? So, and all the way from, where is it? I write a lot, but I'm also a writer. So, yeah, I've got plays upon plays upon plays. I wrote that good chunk of my notebook. So, that's just me. And I've also done this for a little bit longer. Like I said, I wouldn't put a tracker for that unless you do like a little check mark next to your day on the calendar, like, yes, I did my daily draw. You can easily turn the page and journal about it. Make it easier. Jill says, I love the keyword inserts you gave us. Yay! Thank you! And those are actually from my original tarot journal. So go back to that. And if you haven't done the intuitive series yet, we went through each of the majors, intuitively read them. I showed you in a PowerPoint for all 3 days all the keywords that came up. Okay? And you get that exact handout with space for you to write. So, Anna says, got it, I think I may dedicate a separate journal for readings. You could definitely do that. and you could break it down even more if you're a professional reader. You could break it down and journal just about your professional readings. I tend not to do that because I already make a PDF for each reading or a recording, and I send that to them. So I already have a copy myself, so I don't need to do that. Yep, it's free. Michelle, the intuitive series is completely free. So you're able to go ahead and go through it actually on your own. After, I can actually link you the sign up link so you can do it. Okay, so for this one, here's some questions that I want you to ask yourself when you set up your journal, if you haven't done it already. So, what do I want in my journal? In the workbook for today, there's some space for you to jot it down if you can print it out. If not, you can write this at the beginning of your journal. What do you want in your journal? What are you? I'm personally an eclectic, solitary cottage witch. I do a little bit of everything. Little bit of astral projection, mostly in the kitchen though, and I do a lot of bath magic and things that are really detailed like that. So I like having herb correspondences because I stand there and I hum over stuff and I cook. So all the tarot spells that I've done, I've gone in my kitchen and gone and got some herbs for it. So I like to keep a log of that. I would put that in my tarot journal. So what keywords resonate with me? If you go through your book for your cards and you pick out, your daily draw, and you come up with the book and there's a keyword that really resonates with you, like for me, the Seven of Swords, helping small businesses and thinking out of the box, that really resonates with me. I like that so much more than just being sneaky and being deceitful. So I keep that in mind personally. Okay, so I would jot that down. What cards do I see differently and why? Think on that. I've mentioned this a million times before, and I probably will a million times again. I can't stand the King of Wands. The King of Wands is such a sneaky asshole. He looks like the boss from Office Space that comes in and says, yeah, you should come in next week, that'd be great. That guy. That's a King of Wands for me, and he drives me up the wall. I hate people with that King of Wands smirk. But that's just me. A lot of people love the King of Wands. They think he's creative and compassionate and, charming. And yeah, he can be, but he can also be a bit of a dick, And I don't care for that kind of person. I don't mesh with the King of Wands. So I would need to write that down as I see that card differently and what it reminds me of. How I can use this to grow my practice. How can you use your journal and all your findings and all your cards that you find a little differently, how can you use them to further your practice? You could easily do a layout on a page saying, hey, this is the traditional meaning of the card, this is my meaning. Traditional, mine. And I've done that plenty of times and it's worked like a charm. Or this is the element I associate with this. Like, I know some people see swords as fire energy and wands as air. They're different than the people that associate wands with fire and swords with air. It flips, but explain it to yourself, because if you can explain it to yourself and understand it, you will be just fine. You don't need validation from anybody else, as long as you can explain it and you can understand it. Okay? So those are the questions for today, and make sure to share them in the group. At least those little questions. If you don't want to share your journal, fine, but at least share your answers to those questions. Anna says, yes, I found out writing down is essential for validation because you can check and verify where you went wrong or right. Exactly. Funny about the King of Wands, I love the Queen of Swords. She's such a bitch for so many readers. And I see this Queen of Swords and I'm like, I like you because you're blunt, but I can't stand your independent streak. The Queen of Wands, maybe it's wands that get on my nerves. I don't care for wands, but that's because I'm lacking in my fire base. So that says something about me. I need to get a little more with the wands. I aspire to be the Queen of Pentacles because I love her. She's the epitome of the solar plexus. But it's interesting. If you were to, that's one thing that you can do. If you were to hang out with a card, who would it be? I know there was one fun spread that I did. It was actually a challenge. I did it on my Instagram where you had to see what cards hate each other, what cards don't hate each other, which cards are divorced. If someone got drunk last night, which card would it be? And you'd ask the question to your deck and it would pull it out and they just tell on each other and it's so dramatic. But it helps you explain it to yourself a little more and it makes it more fun for you. And if you write it down, you remember the fun you had. Catherine says, I love the meanings you're giving. Fantastic. I'm glad they resonate with you. It really helps. So, you have your homework. You have your homework, you have your things that you need to do. Go ahead and share them in the pin post. It's a new pin post today. So, no worries about combining. Michelle says, I love pages. Ooh! The pages. Well, sometimes I'm just like, the Page of Swords gets on my nerves because he wants to jump to conclusions all the time. And he's, just stop it. But, write it down. It'll be fun. So, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Tuesday. And I will see you tomorrow for, what are we doing tomorrow? Spreads. We're going over spreads and how to effectively reword your questions so you get the best thing out of them. Because one thing I'm fantastic at doing, I actually did an interview with Christina Quick, she's in this group, over intuitively asking questions. And I know that can be really hard for some people. It's a specialty of mine. So I'm going to teach you how to do that tomorrow. Anna says, if I may, a bit off subject, but have you read Scott Martin's book on tarot and theater? It's a gem. Ooh, I need to. That sounds wonderful. I do know I've got a couple ideas for decks in my head that have to do with theater. So that's definitely something I need to pick up. I will write that down. Thank you so much. It's Scott Martin. Scott Martin. Okay. So, huzzah. I hope everybody has an awesome day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.